All right, so we are back now at Peyton's place, which is very nice, by the way.
Thank you.
We're here to do a little PAX wrap up, just because we saw so much and we trying to remember what we talked about because it was all a blur, but it was excellent.
Yeah.
So what we did today, we did a few things today specifically. I want to start with your game that you were so excited about, Ooblets.
Okay, Ooblets. Going in, Ooblets was the thing I was most excited about. It's always hard to describe a game kind of more like an indie game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, they draw inspiration from so many things, but it's not derivative solely from that thing.
Yeah.
So like, to get first of all, check out Ooblets. Google that, OOBLETS.
Yes, Ooblets.
It might be 2 T's, I don't remember.
Exactly, well, you can see it in the video.
Yeah, I think it's 1 T.
People will be seeing it.
I'm a bad speller, I apologize, Ooblets. But, so like, when I want to describe it as Animal Crossing meets Harvest Moon meets Pokemon, but it's a ton more than those things. It is, you basically, you probably saw some of it. You're walking around and dancing. Everyone's got kind of a little dance that they do.
It's cute. It's really cute.
Very cute. And so you're walking around and you join an Ooblets club, and then you got to go and they give you an Ooblet when you join that. And Ooblet is kind of it's a number of things. They've got some of that are like plants. They got, I think, what was it? Bear belt, something. It looks like a little bear with like a belt and jeans and like sunglasses.
Yeah.
They're just like little things that follow you around.
Yeah.
And you get them by you battle them. Very Pokemon style, turn-based move sets. I did some snoot booping and some glitter gifts with Petula, not sure the pronunciation. Snipperclaw? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I think it's Snipperclaw, Slippy Claws, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then you defeat them and they run away and they leave a seed behind. You can plant that seed, water it, come back the next day. You grow an Ooblet, and then you have that Ooblet that you defeated, and then I think on my Ooblet I put on some sunglasses and a bow tie and a Santa hat.
I wanted to ask you about that because does it give you stat boosts?
I don't think so.
But they do look very charming.
I think it's just really cute.
Yeah, put like a hat. Yeah, put the hat on and stuff like that.
Sunglasses.
Really good.
I wish I could have played more. I did kind of bug out a little bit where there was a point where you were prompted to teach a new move to one of your Ooblets, but I just like going through and taught it to already. It's like I went through and I taught it to it, and then I went to go leave, and it was like, no, you can't leave until you teach your Ooblet a new trick. And I was like, oh, I did that, and it kind of wouldn't let me go past that. And I didn't want to take the game for too long because I want more people to play this game. It is really good. Sound design, very cute, good, like upbeat music. Everyone's dancing to. Visually, it's cartoony and it's nice and it's pastel-y.
Yeah.
Very stylized and cute. You should check out like ooblets.com because they've got some very good devlogs going into kind of the creation of everything. And it's very fun. The creators are on Twitter. I'll post some sort of Twitter thing there with their Twitter. I cannot remember it off the top of my head.
That's okay.
I think it's non-player cat at non-player cat is one of the
And they were at the Double Fine booth.
They weren't, so the developers weren't able to come to PAX. But the game itself they were picked up by Double Fine.
There we go.
I can't remember the actual development company's name because it's goofy and fun. And it's not a word. So, but you should definitely check it out. It's really good. And I honestly, I could talk about it for forever. I was so excited to play that game, and it just lived up to everything I wanted it to be.
I was really happy because once we got up there, I was thinking like, what if we do all of this and then you're like, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You know.
I knew going in. I'd watched enough of their videos. I'd kept up enough that I like knew going in like I'm gonna love this game.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is right up my alley.
It was fun to watch and like fun to like film you two because you're sitting there with Case and you guys are just sitting there just kind of huddled up on these little ottomans or whatever just playing the games like getting into it.
This far from the TV.
Yeah.
Like, just like right there.
And like Gang Beast is going on behind you and there's like all people screaming and stuff. I'm just like,
it was good. It was a good time.
I'm trying to film you but I'm trying to watch all these things. It's like a lot of stuff's happening. So yeah, Ooblets.
Definitely check it out. And we talked about it a little bit, but you you got to play like 20 minutes of Divinity Original Sin 2, and I feel like we didn't get enough time because there was some horns going on in our little bit of filming that we got to do. But we kept it a little bit short. You'll notice that those horns. It's not as bad in the recording, luckily, but in real life it was not the most fun part of it.
It wasn't. But thankfully, Divinity was actually really, really cool. First off, I have to say that I think that they might have had the best booth at the show.
Yeah,
I think they're going to retire it soon, but it's a booth they've been using for a while. It was this kind of like cool, like the red and white stripe for like a tent setup. And they had these kind of cool, like long tables with all the PCs there, which is really, just really puts you right in the mood for it.
It was cool because all the PCs were built like they were in the tables.
Yes.
So like it just looked like long wooden kind of, the tables you'd find in like a mess tent of like an army on the go.
Yes, like for a legion or something like that.
Yeah, exactly for a legion.
I was right.
Because I noticed when I was filming, like there's the kind of slots because the PCs were obviously in there.
Yeah.
And because it was blowing air out and it was like that PC fan smell.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, okay, they're just in the table.
Like, these things are going to start on fire. But the game itself, really cool. 4 new classes that they were talking about. I think it was the elf, there was like this kind of lizard man, the dwarf, and I don't know, they said there was undead versions of every one of them. I must be missing another one.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I was trying to like pick up while I was watching.
Yes, so the character I was playing was a guy who could do a lot of things. One of them, he was like, he was an undead guy, and he could like take on the faces of other people. I was like having troubles trying to figure that out. I'd learned those abilities, but I couldn't find them in the time I had. But he also had this really cool ability, like I was saying, he could kind of transform parts of his body to do different things, like whip out like an octopus tentacle to attack from distance. He could like get the bulls of a horn and like charge at somebody, or he could turn something into a chicken, which is really good because I was fighting like 2 things. I'd be like, "You're a chicken," and then the chicken would just like run off into the water, and I'm like, "See ya." And I really thought that was a cool, like, neat character.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like I had a mask on at first, and then I lost the mask, and then like people started to be like, "Oh, it's undead, kill it!" So it's like, wow. So if I would have had the mask, or if I would have gotten something else, I probably wouldn't have been attacked.
The taking on people's faces probably.
Yes, exactly. That's what my guy and like his background was too. So and it was kind of interesting because this one, they've done a lot of things. I talked about movement, which is really good. It seems like a lot of streamlined processes. But even talking to other NPCs now, they would say like, "Hey, here are like 4 options, and 2 of them actually align with the skills or like the tags that you have in the beginning." So if like Mystic was one of them, and it'd be like, "Oh, if you pick this one, it's going to put you more into that Mystic category, and that might give you more bonuses depending on what is in that specific like talent." So that was kind of cool. So you could really tailor your person to that even more. So it's just more role-playing, which is a good thing because that game, it really helps that along. And they were talking about at certain points that you can be on a team with somebody. You and I could be teammates, and I could be the true antagonist of the entire story, and you would never know about it.
Oh, wow.
Like, I could be constantly going off doing bad things, and then like you might not know about it, and I could be the villain the whole time. Whoa. I was like, that might be a really crazy way to play with like a friend. Or you can rail against each other. Like if you guys are in a team together, you can fight more, and you can still be in a party, but even though you might not agree on like how you want to resolve something.
That's a lot of depth for a multiplayer
so much depth,
game.
I know, and then on top of that, it's all this other, like, we didn't really get to see too many of the mechanics of actually how this game and the previous one works, as far as like if you put poison out on the field and it's like big gas, if you light that on fire, it explodes.
Yeah, I saw blood on the stage, and it's saying like blood can be frozen or electrified.
Yep.
As like a kind of a AOE.
Yes, that's very cool, and that's why I like having casters or people that can like, if you have a bunch of bombs, if you made a bunch of them, that's really cool. But it was just like this much time, like this
20
much.
minutes was not enough.
I was like flying through it because I was like, I'll just keep going. So in the video, you're probably like, why is he moving so fast? But I wanted to go fight a bunch of things and talk to a bunch of people and do as much.
And flee from a giant fight.
I did, yeah. I was like, oh, like let's see, and then I was like, I should probably run. And
so like 8 people.
Yeah, 8 like really, and I was like looking at their levels. It was like question mark, question mark, question mark. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. So, and I chased like a little kid off a boat for a bit. I couldn't catch him. I was like, ugh, because I was just like an undead jerk. But yeah, it was really fun. I'm really looking forward to that game, even though I'm just getting into the first one. I'm like, oh my gosh. One of the questions on their exit survey was like, how much of the first game did you play? And one of them was like, the answer was like, did you stop at the first town? And I think a lot of people got to that first town and just spent like 20 or 30 hours just kind of screwing around because it's such a big town. And it's like, okay, all right, sounds good. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Next thing we did is you played Air.
Yeah.
Game I'd never heard about or seen until today, I don't think.
Yeah. Air, A-E-R.
Yep.
And it has a byline on that title. And I have it pulled up on my phone. Air Memories of Old. And it's really good. This is another very stylized, artistic game with incredible sound design, which I got to talk to the developer about, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
There was just a person at the booth, and I didn't know if people were in line. I was like, oh, are there lines for this? Or is it kind of just like a first come, first serve? And he's like, oh yeah, it's my game, but I just got here. So I don't know. It's probably just first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And then when it opened up and he came and showed me around.
It was very cool.
And so basically, like, I don't know how the game starts, but the demo started where you're kind of in a cave and you're walking around doing some just very basic jumping puzzles kind of stuff, because you got these big jumps. And you get to like an altar type thing, and you're reading these slates, and they're describing a world of old where the land was connected, and now we live in this world full of floating islands.
Gotcha.
And then you find this altar, and you grab a lantern, and it shifts, and everything goes dark, and then everything is kind of crumbling down around you, and you're seeing these spirits of people in the cave trying to basically light your way and guide you out of the cave.
Cool.
So then you get out, and then you're just on this open world full of floating islands, and it's like spacebar to jump, press E to fly. And you jump, and you press E, and you turn into a bird.
Yes.
And then you're just flying around.
Which I was like, that's cool.
This huge open world, I mean, even the demo was like 12 different islands. And like the islands aren't huge, but definitely a Dreamweavers from Spyro the Dragon feel to me.
Sure.
If I can make a reference to an old PlayStation game.
Yeah.
But it was flying felt really good, and I love flying in games. We've talked about wingsuits from
Just Cause
3.
Yeah.
Eagle Flight PSVR. Like I love that kind of just that flight movement, and this is really good. Just huge parabolas, and you can switch in between bird and human. So like I'd do these like like spacebar to flap, and I'd flap up high, arc down, and then like turn into a human, and then just like fall, and the last second like turn into a bird, and kind of just, and the physics are really fun.
Yeah.
Like it feels really intuitive, and very pretty. I didn't do like any storyline. Like I don't know, they were like speak to this person at a temple. I just flew around. I just really liked flying.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I didn't get into the story at all, but they definitely was a draw there for like flying through these islands and finding things and exploration, and uncovering stories of what happened in this world, which were very intriguing.
Yeah.
And again, beautiful. Like it was just like string music behind you, like swelling as you fly, which was awesome. Really built the momentum of the flying kind of sensation, which I thought did it justice really well.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome having the developer there to talk. And
yeah, that was so cool.
Like I was like trying to do the flying thing. He's like, oh, if you just press shift, it just goes into locked camera mode. Just don't move the mouse when you're. And I was like, oh, that's way easier.
Yeah.
Like that, just like an immediate shift. Was like, I'm so glad that the developer was there to tell me about
exactly.
that. But again, it was gorgeous. It's on. You can like wishlist it. Both this and Ooblets on Steam right now. I believe they're both. I know for sure Steam is Xbox One and PC.
Okay.
Steam. I know for sure Ooblets is Xbox One and PC.
There we go.
Everyone was playing on Xbox controllers, even though it was all Alienware PCs.
Oh yeah.
But I bet it's Xbox One and PC.
Maybe.
I know. Okay, I think it's PC. But I saw in Steam that it said controller support, so maybe it might just be Steam, but it's for sure Steam.
Yeah.
For Air.
Air. Well, I would say it kind of like it reminded me a lot of like Absu, but like flying.
Yeah.
Like kind of the look and like the feel.
The art style for sure was reminiscent of Absu,
which is cool. And you know Journey. By
Journey.
Proxy or whatever. But yeah, that was a good looking game. And I listened to like a little bit of it. I was like recording you. I was like, oh. Once you like flipped into a bird, it reminds me of like a lot of games where you start off in the beginning and you're like, oh, this is how I think the game's gonna be, but then like it's like nope, and you're like, whoa, like it's crazy.
Like so early on, because it was just like jump, kind of getting used to kind of the physics of jumping around, and it's like, oh, turn into a bird now. And I was like,
it reminded me a lot of like when you change from a bird into a person, like Falcon from like Captain America, and like when he just kind of would fall because your character's just like free falling and then just
like
turn.
You don't have to turn into a bird. Like I turned, I flew. and I was coming down, and I turned into a human, and then I just like hit a wall, and your person just like gracefully like spins and like lands on their feet. And,
Yeah,
like,
it's like, I'm fine.
you're good,
Like,
you're good.
Cool.
I can turn into a bird. I'm not gonna like hit a wall and die. I can turn into a bird.
Exactly.
I'm gonna fly.
Yeah. There's only 2 other things I want to talk about, but one is Dragon Ball FighterZ Z.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Like we got to talk about this, but it wasn't enough. Like
Yeah.
the game was so good.
Yeah, the game is really fast. It's very fluid. It's very vibrant. Like the game, and it's actually very easy to pick up. He and I were playing. We were pretty even, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, if you use like the right trigger, and it'll help you out." But there's like,
Yeah,
these
that was
really
a bad idea because then you beat me.
I was like, I gotta win. But we were doing this, you know, you kind of dash at each other, but then you're also like summoning in a friend to hit them from the back. So it's kind of you could get people like combo boxed.
Yeah,
in.
it felt very much like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yes, very much
you
like that.
pick 3 characters, you pull them in for combos.
Yep. The only problem I think we ever had was we had like a few like transitional things, where, like the visuals would get like a little staticky. But
Yeah.
This is just a demo build, so.
And honestly, it did a really good job of moving between you do a combo and then it switched to it's obviously like a clip where kind of an animated kind of thing that you're doing, but because the animation is so it looks exactly like you're watching Dragon Ball. It's just a really good art style with that kind of anime style, and so are the clips.
Yeah.
So it flows really evenly. It's not like where it'll go and it's like, oh, this is obviously animated. It keeps that same depth in the background, and it keeps the same 2D kind of, you're just moving back and forth 2D fighter, and it keeps all of that, so it doesn't feel like a clip. It just feels like you're doing something very cool.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head. It is very much like Marvel vs. Capcom. So if you like that compared to like an Injustice, like these hits still feel good, but they're very, very fast. Like you could just hit the same button, you're really going to town on somebody. So, yeah, I appreciate it though. It's like I said, easy to pick up and play, and I think a lot of people were just enjoying it for that aspect. Because to me, fighting games can be intimidating. It's like, like you have to memorize all this stuff for this one character, and then you're like, I kind of like this character. It's like, well, forget all the stuff you memorized and learn this new stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this one didn't seem on the base level as technical as like a Street Fighter.
Yeah,
or something like
this
that.
one I could for sure pick up with a friend and just play and have a good time, because we've said this to a number of people, and they've all like reciprocated the same feeling of, it makes you feel like you're good at the game.
Yes, for sure.
No matter what level you are, it makes you feel like you're good.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm not a huge fighting game fan. I'm not a huge Dragon Ball enthusiast, even though I like both those things. And this was like, this is good. This is a good game. Like,
And that one is February 2018.
Yes,
I think
thank you.
looked that up.
Because I thought it was coming out like next month. I don't know why. Maybe
it felt really solid already.
Yeah, we had access to like, what was it, 10 characters or something?
Yeah, and
like
I'm sure there'll be
10 or 12.
In the Dragon Ball universe, 10 is nothing.
There's like 1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm sure there will be more.
Look at
than
like
10.
a Budokai Tenkaichi. It's like,
it's
like,
whole
oh
screen.
my gosh. The last game I want to talk about, I've touched on it a little bit, is Battle Chasers, which we had a really great time, and I want to stress this enough. Like the people at THQ Nordic were super duper friendly, super duper inviting. I got to talk to a lot of them about my feelings about Darksiders, which I'm sure many people understand, know that I like to talk about. But I actually got.
I don't think we've heard that from you.
There's definitely not like a video on there that's like your most popular and everyone's seen. But I did get to talk to Steve Maduera, the one of the illustrator of like the guy who's doing like making the illustrations for the game, and his brother Joe Mad, who is the guy who does like all the art for like this game and Darksiders and stuff like that. So talking to this guy who was like so nice, this guy was really friendly, and I really just wanted to like have him come over and like sit next to me while I played the game, because it was such a pleasure talking to him about it.
And it was his idea to do an interview. Like he wanted to talk to you about this game on camera.
He was excited. He was excited because I kind of went in there and they could tell that I was like really happy to be there. I was like, Battle Chasers. But the game itself, you know, for a lot of the time you're kind of just like walking around, just exploring the world. I played like a little fishing game, which was fun. I was good with like the first one, but I was just like having a hard time with the rest of it. But the combat, like seriously, obviously the look of the game is probably my favorite thing, but the combat felt real good. Like think of just like a meaty, just like Final Fantasy X style. Like you see everybody like a little like turnstile based, and like you're kind of charging up moves. And I was getting really into actually like team dynamics, where I was like making one person, the young woman with the green hood and like the fist, like my tank, she was taunting people, and then the giant would heal her or attack, and then like my mage would be like slinging spells also. And it was just like real, like every hit, especially with the young one with the hood or the giant, like we talked about the gut punch.
Yeah.
Because that's what Steve said. I was like, what's your favorite attack in the game? And he's like, the gut punch from like the robot. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, when you do it, it feels so good. And this game, it's on PC, but I would recommend a controller or a mouse with rumble because every hit is just like, you feel it's like
that feedback was really
I was like
right there.
And it's just so delayed, like the perfect delay on the punches, and you're like, oh, every hit felt like really good. I was like, oh my gosh, this combat's so good.
I really like. They told us the names. I think even when we were talking to them, I cannot remember the names.
Sorry.
But Green Hood.
Yeah.
They should have a move where would do damage and then take that damage and create a shield.
Yes.
And then you could draw fire towards that shield.
Yep.
And like you said, with the dynamic of this person's just doing damage, this person's drawing fire. Yeah. It felt like it had good dynamics between the three of them.
Yeah, and we saw like another setup where they were using a different party of three, and I'm thinking that I don't know if it's just going to separate them or if you get to choose who's in that party and then you can find like what your team dynamic is.
Yeah, and we should have gone because this was at the THQ Nordic booth.
Yes.
It was at the Xbox booth and it was at the PlayStation booth.
Yes.
So like, we should have played all of them.
Yeah,
just
that's
to
true.
see.
Yeah. Well, he was telling us, Steve was saying that he really likes to take the rogue champ who's got guns and knives and make her an evasion tank because like he will like make a really really high evasion and then she has like a kind of a taunt move or like a shot where it's like a drawing fire shot. And I was like, oh, like a rogue with like a taunt? He's like, yeah. So that way he's like, it's hard to hit her, but if they do, it does a lot of damage. But he's like, I have her as like my evasion tank. I'm like, that's so cool. Like a rogue is your tank. I'm like, that's so weird and cool. It's like, that's amazing.
That's really cool.
And they said the one big thing is that they don't want to make a game where just there's a regular attack button. Like everything in this game costs like a little bit of mana and usually has another side effect to it, which I thought was really cool. It wasn't just like, just hit the attack button. Because that's usually such a boring like attack.
I don't remember what the word was that they used for it, but where the big guy who had Sucker Punch, like the big robot, where every attack also built up like
there's like a charge meter.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if you could unleash like a super duper move, if you built that up enough, because some of those attacks would be like, oh, build charge or whatever that other that kind of element of the game was. But yeah, I never got to that point because I was excited for it because if you do that, I think like it cuts the screen in half and like shows their face like a comic book, and then they do like this cool super move, and I was like, oh, I want to do that.
Because as discussed kind of in that interview, like it's from a comic book, like this story, like this universe.
Yes, and that was one of the things that he talked about is that it is built off an older comic that they'd worked on, and that these characters have a history. And he said at night they'll go back to like, if they go to an inn or whatever, they'll rest, they'll talk to each other because they want that role-playing aspect. And I was asking him if there was the potential for them to like maybe bring up something for the fans and say like, oh, remember that battle or remember that thing that happened in the past. And he said, oh yeah, some of that stuff's in there. It's like, oh, that's really cool, like a nod to the fans.
Yeah,
you know,
makes you want to go back and read those comics.
Exactly, and they're freaking gorgeous. Like, I was like, and there's a really good like animated cutscene or animated thing that they made for the game that they were playing there, and it's, if you ever get a chance to look it up, it's really gorgeous. It's like, oh, I want you to just make a Netflix series of this, please. But Battle Chasers, that's my, I don't know, if you have a game of the show, that's my game of the show.
Yeah.
Like, personally, I really love Battle Chasers.
I mean, it's Ooblets. Like,
sure.
It's the one I went in most hyped for, and not a single thing let me down about it.
Yeah.
So game of show for me would be Ooblets.
We do have caveats though. We did not get to play like Monster Hunter World.
Nope.
The line was incredibly long, and Super Mario Odyssey.
Nope.
Didn't get to try that either. Like there were some pretty big lines.
And I really wanted to get some PSVR
we
games
tried.
in, but those like the lines were crazy long, and we were trying to really get as much done as we could in the 2 days that we were there.
Yeah.
And those demos like appointment slots filled up in seconds.
Yep, like you couldn't even tap on it.
Yeah, I was like there at like 10:59 waiting for that Moss demo, and it was like full. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well,
It's like,
okay.
curses.
It's okay because I'm gonna buy Moss no matter what.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Check out Moss if you have a PSVR.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thank you for coming along. You were an excellent cameraman. Like you were just killing it.
It was
This
my
guy,
pleasure.
He was so good. He was like everywhere. I'd turn around. He's just like there. He's like, I'm filming.
You gotta use a fun camera.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I love doing this. If you guys want to see more of this type of thing, please let me know. I want to do that. It was a pleasure coming out of PAX. Seattle is incredible. Like the people here, obviously amazing.
Good city.
Peyton Case, the best, my favorites. Honestly, the best part. But yeah, if you want to check out any more of our stuff, just like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're also on Patreon, so if you want to support us there, you sure can. But just thanks for watching the video. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be doing this again soon. So thank you so much, and remember to adapt and overcome. We'll see you next time.